Inmendham video, hopefully. Technology's running a little hot or something. Anyway, hopefully this video will work. Anyway, so response to a few things, I guess. One of those videos I really don't want to have to make. Poodle Susan made a response video to whatever he is, Storky Smorky. And she made a comment that, and she made it twice, and did it in writing, that in my opinion is just so fucking stone cold stupid. I just can't, it sort of makes me say I have to make some sort of declaration, make it clear that I'm not an anti-natalist. I'm an ethicist, or if you want to say a life extinctionalist. But I just won't appreciate it if somebody calls me an anti-natalist, because I'm not an anti-natalist. I never liked the word because of this prejudice towards humans, as if humans are the cause of a problem, which is just plain idiotic. The problem existed 300 million years ago. You would not have wanted to be born in Jurassic Park. There was no fun to be had there. So anyway, yes, but I never felt like, okay, I have to, I just decide I'll make my own category and say these categories can exist somehow compatibly. But they really can't. So I'm going to be strict, more strict, in pointing out that I really don't want to be associated with anti-natalists if they include in their club animal rapists, which I think these people are. They're so stupid. I mean, it's just so obvious. We weren't better off 2,000 years ago as humans, or 200,000 years ago. We weren't better off. 9 out of 10 of your kids died right in front of you, and you lived a short, difficult, hard, brutal life and then died badly. Now, you didn't die in a nursing home. They didn't keep you alive for 3 years. So, yeah, that part was better. But everything else was worse. So, human civilization isn't the evil. Humans incarcerating and torturing animals isn't the evil. Because nature does that. Replacing everything that humans have done on this planet with rainforest would be a deeper crime than creating acres and acres and acres of factory farms. One 10 meters, 10 square meters of a rainforest is more of a nightmare than all of Tyson Foods. It's just a fact. If we took away our cement and our asphalt and all the other stuff that all the stuff we've sanitized on this planet, all the parts of this earth we've made dead, that crime against animal kind would be far greater than the entire history of humans brutalizing animals. I mean, this argument is just insanely stupid, to think somehow animals are better off left to the machine, left to the meat grinder. The intelligent organisms are their only salvation, and these idiots can't figure that out. They think animals know what they're doing, and they've consented to be tortured. Yeah, it was their choice. Too fucking stupid. So, let's play this insane tripe. Where the hell is the fucking right window? People are always just so disappointing. You just can't, just can't trust a human.
So, oh, did I skip? I skipped something. 1730, he talks about a paternalistic attitude toward animals that I actually agree with.
So she agrees that we're being paternalistic. They're clearly retarded. They're not equally abled intellectually. They're not just limited because they don't know language. They don't have any knowledge whatsoever. They couldn't be more perfect imbeciles. And she's saying it's wrong for us to be paternalistic towards the dumbest animals on the earth. So, dumb things, we shouldn't be paternalistic. Holy shit.
On this earth, who you can never, ever get their consent from.
Again, I don't have to get Donald Trump's consent. I don't have to get Homer Simpson's consent. They're the ones that don't have consent from the victim they're producing. The same is true. If I think human beings don't have a right to impose torture on their children, why would I think an animal has a right to do it? I mean, it's insanely stupid, and especially to do it in some insane numbers like having 10,000 children and having 9,999 die horribly as children. Why would I say they have a right to do that? That they somehow have consent rights or something? They have no capacity to think. Now, yes, I can imagine that if we gave intelligence to, say, lions, I could imagine they could be Donald Trump lions. I could imagine them as Homer Simpson lions. So why would I have any less contempt for a lion that's a Donald Trump or a Homer Simpson? I would have the same contempt for their illogic and their lack of knowledge. I would be just as comfortable saying it's either me or them. I would go to war against, if all the lions were Nazi lions and they were going to incarcerate all the Jew lions, I would be just as comfortable going to war with them as if they were people with an idiotic idea. Why would I imagine lions being stupid if they gained knowledge? No, I would imagine them to be intelligent, like myself, and to figure out, oh, that's right, I have no right to play this risk game with my little cubs. I have no right to impose life on them. I have no Dr. Frankenstein license, for fuck's sake. Where did the animals get the I can play Dr. Frankenstein license? They didn't get it anywhere. They've never proved their competence. None of that ever happened. Why the fuck wouldn't I be judgmental? This isn't about paternalism. This is about rational judgment. We don't let kids do things because they're not qualified to do them. Now, if a kid can prove he's qualified, then we'll let him go to college. We'll let him do things that other kids can't do if they can prove they're competent. But where have you demonstrated that animals could ever have that competence? And why, again, even if they pass that competence test, why, again, would I believe all of a sudden, oh, I'll give them the benefit of the doubt. They have a right to torture. They have a right to put things at risk. No, I don't believe anything has those rights. So why the fuck would I give it to any or animal? Even if they could manifest intelligence, if they were idiots, I'd still call them idiots and I'd still stop them from being criminals. Fuck.
To do that, to end their life, to end their whole world.
Okay, I agree with that. So.
Oh, God. Again, I mean, if there's anti-natal, again, how do not people could be this fucking stupid? They really think humans are doing all the suffering and humans have done all the polluting of the world and the world would have been a beautiful place if humans weren't on it. Everything would be just fucking fine. You're really that fucking stupid?
So I had to say, I had to give him some props there and just say, I agree, I am not ethics for the...
Yeah, so you're an idiot, is what you are. You're a fucking psychotic, sadistic lunatic to pretend that animals have magic knowledge that we should be respecting. That when they impose on their children, they're doing it for something called a good reason. They're doing it for a dumber reason than the dumbest human on earth. The dumbest human is doing it for more of a good reason than the fucking animals are, for fuck's sake. Why should they be able to throw their children into concentration camps of horror? God, you're fucking dumb. Biatch.
This reason, I'm fed up with our paternal attitude toward non-human animals, and you are right.
I mean, what does that even... I'm fed up with I'm fed up with you, but anyway, I'm fed up with our paternalistic attitude. In what way is our paternalistic attitude wrong? So basically she's saying anything we do to save animals from harm, we're inappropriate. I mean, it's just insane. If we put up a deer crossing sign, well, we often don't do that for the deer's sake. There's probably some examples of where we try to mitigate in the welfare of animals. I mean, disgusting rubbish. She's sick of it. Ugh, fed up.
We cannot get consent from them, at least not in our current...
Why would I get consent from an imbecile? Why the fuck would I get consent from an imbecile? And how can they be declared anything other than an imbecile? They can't even lick a lollipop correctly, for fuck's sake. I mean, damn. This is just so fucking stupid.
Relationship paradigm with them. See Gary Steiner's anthropocentrism and its discontent.
Oh, fuck Gary Steiner if he taught you this nonsense. A fucking idiot, no doubt. This whole fucking referencing to your authorities, like somebody has unlimited time to go read every sloppy piece of tripe you've ever read. No, I don't have such time.
It's the moral status of animals in the history of Western philosophy.
Yes, right. The moral status of animals. An amazing pile of crap. The only thing we haven't had towards animals is empathy. We've exploited them and abused them. But we have no obligation to respect their lifestyle, to respect what they're doing because they're too stupid to know better. You don't respect somebody who's doing something because they're too stupid to know better. The lemmings go jumping off the fucking goddamn cliff. We're paternalistic if we say, well, that's a fucking horror show, isn't it? What the fuck is that all about? Maybe we should mitigate and do something to prevent this fucking tragedy that doesn't need to exist. Oh, fuck.
So I can, I'm just really reluctant, and I hate to end on the note that, on this note, but I'm not F-list. So,
yes, and I'm not anti-natalist. Anti-natalists who believe human beings are the problem are idiots. Fucking catastrophically gigantic, moronic idiots.
Anyway, those are just some of my comments to this.
Fuck it. Jesus Christ. Where's the fucking unsubscribe button? Fucking dumb, stupid, crazy bullshit. Ugh. I mean, it's just amazing. I just can't... How do people come up with this crap? This fucking steaming crap. There was some other things she said that wasn't too true either. Some argument about suicide, and she said that I've made the argument that you shouldn't kill yourself because your mommy will cry or somebody else will have hurt feelings, and I've certainly said that's a fact you can't undo, it's a truth, but I've said overtly and decisively that if those are your friends, the people who care about you want you to be continually tortured forever, to go through more chemo for them, then they're assholes and they're not worth your devotion. So fuck them. It's really sadistic to sit there and say, oh, please suffer some more for me. I mean, that's pathetic. If they can't muster up the empathy to understand you've probably spent years of your life tormented and in anguish and you're just a little bit fed up and you need relief, if they can't understand that, fuck them. I've argued that people should stay alive as long as they can because they can't fight this war against stupid fucks if they're dead. That's the argument I've made. But outside of that argument, I couldn't have greater empathy and support for people attempting to achieve relief. Fuck. Oh, God. Oh, that was just so fucking creepy. I mean, I should expect it by now, because there's been so many times people have just totally... What happened there? How did that just happen? Giving an asshole props for basically saying, why are we talking about animals? Not our business. I mean, amazing. All right. Fetuses are on the same level as insects. Yes. That's why they're still fetuses, because they haven't fully done their mock evolution. I mean, in a sense, the gestation period is really just a little mock-up, a little miniature version of evolution. You start off as a little fish, and you evolve, and you're farted out long before you're finished. You're farted out when you have skin and the basic organs work, but yeah, this part hasn't even come close to being put together yet. Many mammals are born blind. The ones can afford to stay in the nest, because yes, the whole thing doesn't. You don't need those sense organs to function to suckle on a nipple. Alright, so this wise madness, I figured I'll throw this in just because he's just such a little whiny baby. So he keeps complaining that somehow his little masterpiece of drivel here hasn't been, somehow isn't viewable to the world. And I can view it, and I think other people can view it, so, But anyway, funny how Gary allows a vile man-hating feminazi cunts. Okay, let's understand. I am a feminist. So, first let's understand that, yes, of course, if I was going to allow somebody to be rude, I'm more likely to allow a feminist to be rude than one of you, whatever, you little desperately lonely, go your own wayers. Or wife beaters. Anyway. Feminist cunts like man cheese on his channel. Yes, because most of the time, she doesn't cross the lines. She certainly doesn't get personal to me, all right, like you people do. She doesn't make it the argument personal against me. So I'm just saying, if she wants to get personal with the commenters, I don't stop anybody from, I don't really stop commenters from insulting commenters until they start using the N-word or the gay thing or doing some other kind of harassment or whatever. Stealing their name, some other kind of crap. Man, she's on this channel, but he bans me from live chat. Yes, that's right. For merely what? Asking him to calm down. No, but by doing something that I've made clear so many fucking times, I am really disinterested in any conversation about my personal conduct or my personal life or any of that. If you're not going to make a counter argument about what I'm saying, not the tone of voice I'm saying it in, then fuck you. I've made that clear over and over and over again. I'm just completely uninterested in any kind of life advice. You can shove that up your ass until you're really stone cold dead. And I've made that clear. So you cross an obvious line, and then you whine. Alright, calm down when he makes an ass of himself. Again, by you saying so. You say that's making an ass of yourself. Giving a shit is making an ass of yourself. Fuck you. Being sincere is making an ass of yourself. Fuck you again. You obviously don't give a fuck about a motherfucking thing except your fucking self, and there's nothing that gets to you. That's fine. Lots of stuff gets to me. And I'm perfectly comfortable expressing my anger, my frustration, and my absolute contemptuous hatred for you, you piece of shit. I'm perfectly comfortable with that. So fuck you and your fucking cummy advice. Eat it yourself, shithead. You know, fuck your own face with that bullshit. Alright. Yelling like a fucking lunatic and embarrassing himself. Well, again... not by my definition. So I'm not worried about it. And again, even if I was, I don't fucking care. So pointing it out or giving me advice, as I've pointed out, will get you nowhere but blocked. Because it's a waste of my valuable time. You stupid fuck. Alright. And his listeners, LOL, kind of tells you... all you need to know about the guy, doesn't it? Yes. So why don't you just fuck off? We obviously have nothing in common. I have no interest in conversing with you in a civil manner. I hate your contemptuous, putrid guts. I hope you die miserably and horribly just like you deserve. I hope you get exactly what you deserve. So what do we have to talk about, fuckhead? I don't see anything. Because you don't make any arguments relevant to any of the subjects. This is the only kind of shit you can worry about. Alright, and since Gary really likes to censor comments, so again, his comment was not censored. He's posted it 3 times on one video. Yeah. Let's see if making a new account and reposting my censored comment will work. His comment isn't censored. Another guy responded to his comment. I read his comment. So it's on here 3 times now. 3 times his fucking comment. I mean, there's a whole thing. He has a conversation with John Yin. You know. Question. Do you have any tips in find a good woman? No, that's the wrong question. I didn't realize Wise Monkey commented on that. Well, okay, here we go. Well, so I think this is his full comment. So there it is. There's his full comment. Right? There it is. Now, he posted on another guy's comment. So, I thought it was on the John Yin comment. Yeah, it's here. So there, he posted again on this guy's comment. And so John Yin said, I can read your comment. And yeah, that wasn't enough evidence for him. He has to post the same drivel 3 fucking times on one video. And I'm sure it's drivel. We'll read some of it. Well, when you debate the philosophy and everything goes... Well, here, wait. Let's see. And Gary really censor comments. Can you say coward? Again, I'm not a coward. You can't be minimally civil and do your commenting with that minimal civility. Again, when you prove that I make rag comments like this on other people's videos, then you can call me hypocrite. But this has nothing to do with being a coward. It has to do with me having self-respect, and I'm not gonna accept your fucking heckling. You either make an argument or shut the fuck up. But I don't want anything else. All right. Let's see if making a new account. Okay, so it is. Well, when you debate the philosophy and everything goes well, so this doesn't sound like it's going anywhere. But then in the end of the video, you basically end up admitting that if it weren't for the unpleasant prospect of taking Tyrone's dick up your ass. So all this poetry has to be added for a simple argument. I said, yes, if I wasn't going to go to prison, there was no personal consequences for my actions, I would act on my philosophy. I believe there's lots of shitty people in the world. People who have lost the right to live by being shitty, leechy, tick-infested, herpes-covered pieces of shit. They're mentally diseased and toxic to civilization, and I would feel perfectly comfortable doing the right thing and getting them out of the way. It's just being honest. And now you don't think you would. So if you had ultimate power to fix the world, you wouldn't do it. You wouldn't have killed Hitler. You wouldn't have gone, as if you were the invisible man, you wouldn't go to places and take out the problem childs of the world. You wouldn't do anything to fix anything. Because you're what, an idiot? I'm amazing. Right now, Israel is trying to kill all the Arabs. You don't see that happening right in front of us because they're saying, we hate you. You're in our way. Okay, because we'd like to have a much bigger Israel. Yes, we basically just want you all to die, please. And we're going to try to help you die by every now and then trying to cause a war. All right. So he has to add this stupid, useless bullshit. Tyrone. So just pointing out how he's a racist, too. Because it's only black guys who fuck white guys in prison or some kind of bullshit like that. You know. Just demonstrating where your head's at, fuckhead. All right. Ass in prison. You would be ethically fine with going out and putting a large caliber bullet in people's heads. Yes. I would love the idea of doing the book of knowledge, Lord, the Lord's work. Yes, I would love doing that. You'd be doing them a favor even. How kind of you. Yes, in most cases, if you're assassinated, you got lucky in life. I mean, frankly, the people who die in airplane crashes and stuff, without even knowing what had hit them and that kind of, they're the lucky ones, fuck brain. You can't figure that out? Like the person who has the massive heart attack was lucky because you're too stupid. Well, wait till you get yours. Wait till you're choking on your vomit, you piece of shit. I hope it's videotaped so I can just laugh at it. Anyway, you see, when you say things like that, I really wonder if you're... See, this more waste of time. I don't give a fuck what you think. I don't care what you wonder. You're an imbecile. If you are just trying to pack the biggest punch in the debate and one-up yourself, so to speak. Again, I would argue that if I pose the situation to 100 people, you're the invisible man. You can do. You have an incredible amount of power to impose, to make sure deserve is enforced in the world. Would you do anything? Would you stop any bad guys? Yeah. Anyway. Let's see. But in people's heads, you'd be doing them a favor. How kind of you. You see, when you say things like that, I really wonder whether you're just trying to pack the biggest punch in the debate and one-up yourself, so to speak. It's an irrelevant subject to the subject of anti-natalism, so frankly, it didn't have any place in the debate at all. Why was I asked this idiotic question in the first place? Or if you are... I mean, he took it out of another video I had made. I didn't bring it up in the conversation, idiot. He's the one that pointed out that I heard you say in a video that it doesn't matter if somebody sneaks up behind you and shoots your brains out of your head, that they really haven't committed a crime. And I pointed out that, unless we can demonstrate that my life has real purpose in the sense that I'm a real productive citizen, the truth is I couldn't possibly be hurt by it. I never see it coming. I'm gone instantaneously. How the fuck could that be a harm to me? How the fuck could it be a harm to me? Why don't you just answer that simple question? How the fuck could it possibly manifest as harm? How? When nothing, certainly not me, okay, could be tortured by it. You're just so fucking stupid. Anyway, so to speak. So you are an actual psychopath. I think you are, so that's fair. I think you really are so fucking stupid that you might as well call you a psychopath because you think nature is your guide. Not a good look, my friend. Again, irrelevant. I'm sure everything you do isn't a good look. I'm sure your hairy back and your fucking big nose and your fucking crooked eyes, from all of that stuff, make you one scary fucker. That kind of reasoning, oh, more blah, 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 won't get more people on board. Says fucking you. You know, you could argue I'm the most popular ethicist for sure. But even if we were to use the old term anti-natalist on YouTube, I don't think you care about the philosophy, though. So again, why should I care what you think? You're an idiot. And clearly, I think, again, if we ask, do you have the balls to ask 100 people? Let's ask 100 people, all right, for a $10,000 wager. And I'll say that 90% of them aren't going to have any problem if we just play them some videos and they can ask them, do you think this guy really believes that? You want to take the bet? Fuck you. Because if you did, you'd do what all philosophers do and put it in writing. So again, like, I haven't done any writing. No, I have done some writing. It's on my own website. There's a thing called book. There's some, diagramming of the subject. I've done different preliminary work in terms of understanding the argument of what life is and how it works and getting to these reasoned arguments. I mean, frankly, this is a subject I wasn't tutored in my youth. And so all of these concepts, Benatar doesn't say much in his book. You realize that, right? I mean, it's not that complex an argument. There's the asymmetry, which is the primary argument, and the rest of the arguments have to do with optimism bias, pretty much. And that's as far as he kind of goes. So, I mean, clearly I've talked about consciousness. I've talked about how logic works, how to organize facts. The fact that, in terms of presenting arguments to other people, that you often have to do it. Not that you have to trick them, but you do have to sweeten it. A little bit of sugar makes the medicine go down. So there's all kinds of work to be done to be in a condition to write the proper book on the subject, a book that the common man can understand and that can please the intellectual also. This is what needs to be done. I don't need to write a book for a bunch of nihilist intellectuals who won't give a shit anyway. Cunt. All right. A bunch of Nietzsche's. Let's see, where was I? Put it in writing. So again, I mean, it's just, it always comes up. I mean, what percentage of the American population acquires their knowledge from reading books? What do you think that percentage is? It's probably the percentage that goes to college. Like what? 4%? 5%? You're just such an idiot. You just vent on YouTube in order to not completely go insane from isolation. So you think I need this commentary? You think I have any reason to put up with it? So if you made videos, which you don't because you're the coward, you wouldn't mind if people just said this kind of tripe on your videos all day. You just make videos because you have a small penis. You just make videos because your breath is dirty. You just make videos because your eyes are crooked and your nose is too big. You just make videos, because you wanted to fuck your mother, but your mother's dead. I mean, fuck you. Why should I put up with that tripe? All right. That trolley tripe. And for an ego boost. So again, your psychological projectionism, which is again just more nonsense. I'm clearly here not for my ego because I'm full of contemptuous hate. And you can see it from the very first videos I made on YouTube, where I had 10 subjects and I went on for 5 minutes on each of those subjects. And all the subjects were basically about assholes like you who are committing horrendous crimes against the dignity of all feeling things on this fucking planet, you piece of shit. Okay. Probably. Well, whatever floats your boat. Whatever. Again, so somebody should accept that. So, anybody like Dawkins, if they write this kind of tripe, he should just say, fine, great, you're super, thanks for the commentary. No, he should say, why should I put up with this shit from this asswipe? Who is he? An anonymous coward. He puts up nothing, types absolute nonsense drivel that any asshole could type on any video on YouTube, And he's saying, he's proving that this is what intellectualists should do. They should waste their time reading absolute garbage. Yeah, fuck you, heckler garbage. All right, so one more paragraph. I'll probably fuck the last one. Not that I really matters, though. Not that bottom line. Oh, he's doing a bottom line. Amazing. You haven't said anything on the subject yet, by the way. The only reason we are even discussing this philosophy is because we are spoiled, lazy Westerners. So he thinks philosophy is just something like wanking. So that doesn't mean anything. And if you have something like if you're a spoiled Westerner and you have time to do science and you have time to contemplate and do that in a philosophical context, or even be a theologian in a if you go to the monastery and really try to get in touch with, or if you do the Buddhist thing, and separate yourself from the material world to try to find the truth, that's all just wankery. When, in my opinion, that's the only thing human beings can do that has any meaning, is search for truth. Now, I don't think most of those ways, except for science, are going to get you there. And science is, full of religion. But that's the only valuable pursuit we have. That's it. The rest of it is wanking. The rest of it is just eating and farting. You stupid idiot. Who have too much time on their hands. So this is probably from an inheritance wealth there. He's never worked a day in his life. He's basically saying everybody else should be too distracted by work to be able to do any leisure things in terms of enhancing their education or their perspective or their capacity to love. They shouldn't spend any time becoming a bigger, more enriched human being. He wants them all beat to death by the man. Fuck. Due to not having to toil all day for basic survival. And that's a damn good thing, fucker. And I'm damn grateful. And the world is a better place in a sense because people do have the time to do a little bit of science and a little thinking. All right, shit. On top of having too much time, so it's going to repeat the same thing. This is just such meaningless mush. Too much time on their hands. So again, who does he think has this too much time on their hands? I mean, it's just so offensive. So there's a tiny percentage of the human race because of circumstance who can devote time to philosophical contemplation, and he finds it disgusting. God, you suck. All right, hands on it. Takes very specific neurology and life experience to even end up this deep in the rabbit hole. And again, there's the rabbit hole isn't deep. There's no rabbit hole. The truth is a little lump called evolution. And everything comes out of that truth. And it's not that complicated to understand that it is the selfish gene, it's the ignorant gene, it's the sadistic gene, it's the I don't give a what's in it for me gene. That's probably a better way to say it. It's the what's in it for me gene. It's not a smart gene, it's a dumb gene, just like you. A really dumb motherfucker. And that's the whole fucking goddamn sickness on this planet. Alright. There's a reason there are so few of us. I don't know what that means. And I'm certainly not part of any us group with you. You obviously haven't spent any time thinking. You've just contemplated, black penises and stuff. And the number ain't growing too fast, is it? Well, it wouldn't grow at all if you had your way. Because you'd have everybody spending 12 hours a day banging rocks. I mean, arguing for anti-natalism, ephilism, I guess I'll say that every time I see the word anti-natalism now. I'll just say ephilism or life extinctionism of all life is about as deep. So anti-natalism of all life. He doesn't even get that right. Oh, annihilation. I'm sorry. Bad eyes. Arguing for annihilation of all life, yes. It's about as deep as the rabbit hole goes. Well, you could argue for the evaporation of the entire universe, and I suppose that would be a little step deeper. But clearly, questioning is all you're doing. I didn't make the answers suck. Philosophical thought didn't make the answers suck. There's no rabbit hole of bad attitude that makes the answers suck. The answers just happen to suck. It isn't, and it's not for some deep reason. It's for a very simple reason, because the universe isn't a brain. It wasn't made by an intelligence. It doesn't have the function of a Maserati, because there's absolutely nothing that could possibly engineer that has a role to play here. The mechanism making it is a flatworm, for fuck's sake. Flatworms don't make Maseratis. There's 10 million things you could quote from me. That's another one of the great quotes from inmendham. Flatworms don't make Maseratis. So how many like-minded souls do you expect to find there? I'm attempting to convert people into like-minded souls with logic by just pointing out a few facts of life. A few. Now, clearly, Darwin wrote a beautifully pretty, elegant book, and nobody paid any attention. Clearly. The majority of the world still sanctifies religion. Okay? They still believe in their angels and their bullshit. So, clearly, elegant arguments don't work. And it's a tough nut to crack, this will to fable. Okay, there's another great quote. Will to fable. That's all you have, is will to fairy tale. That's what you live for, you piece of shit. Rhetorical question, of course. Completely irrelevant, of course. All right. Everybody who actually understands anything about human psychology, oh, fuck you, understands. Human psychology is like a subject that's only really big. So you can understand some diseases of the mind. You can understand some neuroses because you have personal experience with them. That's a real great way to learn. But this idea that you could know every bit of human psychology, no. All right, human psychology understands an AN, let alone Ethel, have absolutely no chance of prevailing globally in the long run. And why would that be true? So if somebody started a religion tomorrow, a new one, based on, a much better God model, God wasn't a hypocrite, he wasn't a child molester, I'm just saying, you're saying that there's no chance that religion could grow, and that one day, like 2 million Muslims, it couldn't never achieve any stature. It couldn't be successful. So you're saying rational philosophy can't win. So you'd almost argue, from your perspective, you're saying that, for example, human beings will never shed themselves of the belief in God. And you think that's fact. When I would argue that, no, as long as you give them civilization, they'll shed it. They'll lose it. So if we can create some better world mechanisms to create better distribution of resources, and in turn more education and more openness in terms of conversation that people have, I think religion can be finally put in the grave. Can be as dead as Nietzsche thought it should be. Doesn't mean philosophy itself is wrong. Well, again, so then why did you bring it up? I don't really care, frankly, about any other argument than what the right thing to do is. So I'm just saying, in my circumstance, I'm going to do what I think the right thing to do is. I still would argue that I think there is hope. You can say there's no hope, but you have no proof that there's no hope, and you have no rational argument to establish that hope there's no reason to believe. I think there is reason to believe that people fundamentally are logical machines, and that once a meme gets viral, that's the key to it. So you just have to have a hierarchy that preaches it. And most people are sheeple, So again, just a false argument, and then you even point out how your false argument is a false argument. And you're saying you're not wasting my time. All right, it's just not going to be realized regardless. Fuck you. So it's all good if we are just sitting here shooting the shit. Well, I'm not shooting the shit. I'm not doing this for social reasons, clearly. Does this channel look like the other people? You pay $5 to ask me a question or something? No, it doesn't look like those channels, does it, fuckhead? All right. Killing time discussing the philosophy because it's interesting in and out of itself. I don't find it charming or fun at all. See, it's only fun for a sadistic lunatic like you. For me, it's painful as fuck. You don't think... You clearly must have some knowledge of me. You don't think I'd rather be making some kind of art video, some kind of sex video, some kind of any other kind of video? You think this is what I want to do with my time? Then you're really you're stupider than I thought you were, and that's really stupid. All right, mentally stimulating or therapeutic or whatever. Again, it has none of those charms for me. It causes me angst, grief. It never makes me happy. It always just makes me more depressed. So, fuck you. I mean, I spent all day today gardening and cutting trees and moving brush. I could almost enjoy that, even though I'm covered with, my arms are torn to pieces, my legs, my back is bleh. But yeah, that I call fun compared to this. All right, God, you're such a fucking piece of shit. All right, but let's not get carried away, shall we? See, more of your just useless rhetoric, your little digs, your little shots, your little techniques, your little, what do you call that? Shtick, your fucking shtick. It's one thing to say, hey, try not to impose existence on new sentience. I don't think I ever titled the video that. So that's obviously not what I'm saying. And it's a big-ass leap from the statement, pragmatically and psychologically speaking, to justify terminating current sentience. So again, that's not really the point being made, that ideally we can achieve a much better result than that. But as I've pointed out in red button videos, just because of the unreliability of the human race doing anything right, if the red button's in front of me, I'm hitting it right away. Because I'll take that. I'll take the not perfect solution. Okay, that's a real solution. Yes. Solution first. That's the thing you're after, is the solution. How messy it is. It can never be as messy as leaving the problem. You can never do as bad as the world you would make. All right. Terminating current. So again, another false argument. Nobody's arguing about killing current people. It's about stopping nataling, idiot. No matter how painlessly or instantly. So again, it doesn't matter whether it's painless and instant. It does matter, of course. I don't think there's any possible logical argument to say that if the world got annihilated by a comet and everybody was killed in less than 1 second, their consciousness ceased to process, and the event happened in less than 1 second, that it would be impossible to say, oh, the humanities, what a tragedy. All the torture. No torture. All the unrealized dreams. No one's experiencing the feeling of an unrealized dream, so I guess they can't be a problem either. It's like saying all the non-existing humans, all the humans that didn't get to exist because somebody wore a condom. Would you realistically sit around going, Oh, the humanities. Oh, it's worse than the Hindenburg because there's billions of them. There's literally billions of humans that don't exist because of condoms. I mean, have you ever picketed, Trojan or something? Have you ever picketed condoms? Because of, the brutality of the horror committed, but it prevented people from consciously living out their hopes and dreams. Even though they had none yet, but what's the difference? What's the difference? There's no difference between a hope and dream not realized by someone who doesn't exist because they're dead, and a hope and dream not realized because the person never existed to have the hope and the dream. They're the same nothing. But you're too stupid for the argument. Even with all your inheritance wealth and your lazy lifestyle and your time to read silly fucktarded books, you can't figure out these simple arguments, you dumb piece of shit. Alright, without their consent, mind you. So again, this consent argument has nothing to do with the practical facts. So again, you're saying there's a tragedy, but you haven't explained what it is. And again, consent is about a social contract. It isn't about an absolute definition of value and what works. The truth is, sometimes if you break a contract, which is not a nice thing to do, it can be better for mankind. So that would be a good thing, wouldn't it? You should make life worse for people on Earth by not violating a bad contract? You should torture people to protect the sanctity of the contract? I don't think so. I guess my point is, you're trying again to make a point? So this is your third argument about how you're making a point somewhere. There's no points here. Okay, the fervor of debate drives people to all kinds of excesses. Well, it's just, who cares? Everybody sort of understands that, right? Everybody understands getting emotional and being offended and getting upset. So this isn't some big surprise that this happens in the real world, in interactions between people. What, you think you're the only person that's observed this behavior? Wow. You really have a high opinion of your stupid self, don't you? Jeez, wow, how amazing. People on both sides say some crazy shit. So what? And again, frankly, I never do. So, fuck you. Like I said, there's not much I would ever take back. There's very few statements I've made. I'd sit there and go, okay, yeah, I'd say that's way over the top. Because frankly, they're all based on an underlying rationale that knows that it's just about the torture and stopping it. And there's really nothing else to do here. Maybe instead of banning me, again, you're not banned for any reason besides the fact that you're a time-wasting heckler. You don't do this performance art. You don't play by the same rules. And you graffiti here in this obnoxious manner and then say, I have a right. I have a right to insult you personally, even though I put up nothing. You weak ass. Let me take the same liberties with your dignity. Let me type absolute drooly shit on your videos. See, it's never people who make videos who type comments this poor. Except people like Piro, for example. But most people who make videos don't write garbage comments. Without their consent, mind you. I guess the point is the fervor of debate drives people... No, we already did that. Okay, that's about it for me for the most part. So you wrote all this tripe. There wasn't a single rational argument about why it's okay to impose the risks of existence on things that don't consent to it. Why you have a right to play Frankenstein, whether you're doing it with lions, tigers, bears, or humans. Why do you have a right to subject them to risk of torture? Why? Why do you think you have that right? I mean, sure, if you have nothing better to do, feel free to try to convince a few people. Yes, that's what I'll do. in your life to adopt the philosophy by all means. Yes, that's what I'm going to continue to do, is just make rational arguments in an appeal to stop torture. So I'm going to appeal to people's sensibilities and say to them, look, you're just going to impose it on yourself. I'll try to get you to understand that, but you think you're the white slave owner. So I'm going to try to talk to the white slave owner who says, you think you're winning. But the fact is your brain isn't better brain. The brains you're torturing out there in the field are just as brain as your brain. That torture is real. But for the grace of a white God that gave you privilege, go you. What you impose is just as real as what you experience. So how can you possibly be winning when you're also the loser? You're the guy who died. You're the guy who got a broken leg. You're the guy who got ALS. You're the guy who got all these things. All that's just as real as you are. And if that's the price paid to have your little mansion and your little privileged life, just recognize that you're endorsing the creation of that gigantic catastrophe, okay, and that you're going to impose it on something no less than yourself. You're going to impose it on something no less than yourself. Your clone. You're going to say to your clone, go into the future and live the life I imposed on others. And if you thought about that for a minute, you'd realize, fuck, I don't want to do that. All right. Just be realistic that even if you succeed, it was a waste of time. It's not even a drop in the ocean. So again, it's not succeeded what? So it's just like, okay, even if you succeed in just convincing a few people, again, the investment you have to make. So it's like saying, if you went to war to stop Hitler, but you lost and Hitler won, the truth was you shouldn't have tried to stop Hitler. And you should have recognized that somehow. I mean, this is just such useless backseat driving from somebody who has no perspective from the future. You're not in the back seat. You don't have any hindsight. You don't have 20/20 vision. You're an idiot. Live with that, asshole. It's not even a drop in the ocean. It's barely a molecule. So again, says you. Obviously, you have to invest in right. And that's always worth something. Trying is a good thing, idiot. It's probably something we should give gold medals for. Yeah, anyway. The red button fantasies are and will remain just that, crazy fantasies. Well, you'll find out eventually, right? There'll be a future, and some asshole like you will say, it's never going to happen, and it's going to happen. I mean, you're a foobar here on this planet, you know, and if you don't even see it in civilization as it is, there's 300 million guns in the United States of America. People have absolute, they're completely lying about how much they give a shit about their fellow man. And if you think you have some hope of surviving in any kind of comfortable or decent way, no chance of that. So your failure is going to be catastrophic and cause huge amounts of torture. My failure, okay, while bad, if I don't convince the world, it's not as bad as your failure. You're doing it on purpose. I'm trying to stop it, idiot. You're not going to do anything but cause some generation to have to be completely annihilated. Some generation's going to have to be annihilated, idiot. You're not going to survive the universe, fucknut. You're imposing that guaranteed tragedy that's far bigger than the tragedy I'm only trying to impose once. You might kill them more than once. You know, you're like the doctor who just keeps giving the chemo. And you'll have somebody living for 30 years on chemotherapy. That's what you're doing. Yeah. And I'm for the mercy killing. So fuck you. Fuck you. Shit. Fuck off. We have nothing to talk about, douche. You can't make a rational argument. Alright. So, enough of a video. I really hate people. Really hate them. Ugh. So anyway. And such. So until the next time. Hopefully this video recorded properly, because the computer does seem to be uncomfortable. I guess it happens even to computers.